Hello and welcome to another SAFC Fan TV Extra Time. It's been a while since we heard that music, but we're back again with another episode. Joining me tonight on the podcast, we've got Mr. Mike Chappell. Mike, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, not so bad, bar the football. If you take the football out of the equation, I'm doing great.
Well, unfortunately, this podcast is about the football, so we can't do it. Also on the show tonight, we've got Conrad Lee. Conrad, welcome to the show, mate. How are you doing?
Thank you. Yeah, not too bad. Just a long weekend, back to work. You know, the usual, just sort of flat goes by in a blink, and then all of a sudden you're back around to the start it all again.
Yes, and it's always all the more worse when you've suffered a defeat at the weekend.
No plus point at least on a Saturday afternoon or anything.
No. So I suppose we were a touch on Plymouth. What was your thoughts on the game? Obviously, again, it was another game with loads of possession, loads of shots, but no goals. Same old story.
It's becoming a bit of a theme of ours at the moment. It seems like that's our sort of running theme for the season so far, that we sort of are the better team, but we just can't convert anything. Just before we started, we were having a bit of a look at last season's sort of stuff, and there's a few games in there that you sort of think, oh, maybe that's the same, maybe that's this. I always look to, was it Huddersfield away last year, where I actually thought we're a decent team here, like we could actually do something. But before that, you were sort of like, we were neither here nor there. We'd win an odd game, then we'd lose two, we'd maybe nick a draw where we shouldn't, and we didn't quite know what we were. It took us a while to sort of find our feet, as it were. So maybe we're in a similar position to that, I guess. But it does concern me that, like we were saying before as well, that we haven't had a striker score a goal since, I don't know, you said Geldhart against Rotherham, but I don't even count him as a striker. So it's Stewart against Middlesbrough, like before that. And how much has our team changed in those times? We've got a centre mid now at centre back. We've got Niall Huggins is actually alive and well. You know, we've got more youngsters joining the ranks, but we've lost Diallo and Stewart. And yeah, it's interesting. It's always interesting being a Sunderland fan, isn't it? You can never just settle on something, and by the time you think you're settled on something, they throw a spanner in the works, and like the manager's left or this player's out for the season. There's always something every year, so I'm waiting for that to rear its head.
Do you think we're still struggling to play with a striker? Do you think we're still trying to get used to it after so long playing without?
There's a bit of that, but I think they're struggling to play with not a striker, it's any of the strikers. Like, we don't seem to give one of them a long enough go in. Like, was it Bairstow got a good few games under his belt, and we won at like Blackburn. I think we won at Sheff Wed. I think we lost to somebody at home, but we battered them basically and should have won. And you were sort of thinking, okay, well, he's not scored himself, but are the team learning his ways and sort of trying to get the best out of him? And then it was right, Semedo's back in, then Rushin's given a go, and I like Rushin, put lots of effort in, but he just needs to score. And
again, though, he's had chances and he's not took them. That's the worry for me. I just think we're still playing the same way we played last season. Like with the striker, we're playing as though we haven't got one. You know, and I've criticised them for the last for weeks and weeks now. But Roberts, for me, is just not doing it. Like
he's not at the same level. But you've got to think, for him, he's lost his one focal point, which was Stewart, and he's lost his wing partner in Ahmad as well. That was sort of gave him a lot more freedom to take people on. Roberts is the kind of player that obviously wants to take a player on, beat his man, have a shot, maybe get a cross in or something like that. But beforehand, him and Diallo both played right midfield or right wing at the same time as each other. So it became really difficult for them to watch both, which is probably why we had such joy in that sort of position with them, because it wasn't that Ahmad played in the middle or Robertson. They were literally sometimes both right next to each other and sort of always there with Hume on the overlap, or someone just in behind him. And it's now like he's on his own, and he doesn't quite have the same power that he did.
I do think that Tony Mowbray isn't helping himself either, man, with the substitutions that Saturday, Mike, your good old favourite Mr. Dak came on, and what an absolute waste of space when you've got, apparently I heard somewhere on social media might have been Sunday or Monday. Apparently, that Pritchard has had some kind of falling out with Mowbray, and that's why he's not getting a game. But for me, Pritchard should have been on all day before Dak came on.
The ball boy should be on before Dak comes on. Yeah, you know, we'll get Samson or Delilah on the pitch. That would be better than Dak. I've said it from day one, and you were all like, "Give him a chance, give him a chance."
Yeah,
oh, you jumped to conclusion. But I was right all along, and now you see it.
I'm happy.
Sorry, I'm just having a moment.
I'm happy to give you got to give everyone a chance when they turn up, but so far he's not set the world alight. His goal against Southampton still took him 3 turns to put it in. Like it's still took him to go with it, and from 1 yard out, and it was a
schoolyard goal. That was everybody kick at the ball and hopefully it goes in a direction.
It was, but I mean, I remember 3-4 years ago, and we had Will Grigg pretty much on the goal line, missing them doing that, and just like letting them roll past him. So it's nice to see actually someone every now and again actually tap one of these in. But it has been a sort of a weird signing. I think, did we get him on a 1 or a 2 year?
1 year.
1, right? Well, it's a no from me for an extension at least, anyway, and just sort of go right. I think we probably hoped he was over his injuries and was going to be the player that he looked like he was going to be at Blackburn, and it just doesn't seem that he's got that in him anymore.
The thing is, in hindsight, if you look at it, Blackburn wouldn't have released him if they thought he was going to be that player as well. So
no, and it's interesting for Blackburn as well. They got rid of
the Diaz and all.
Yeah, that one, the Chilean, and got rid of him. And you sort of think, God, you don't want to be losing any more attacking talent than you do, and they got rid of both. So it shows that even with one going, they were like, "Oh, still don't need him."
So do you think that me personally, I think we're weaker this season in a stronger league. That's why I think at this moment we'll struggle to make the playoffs.
I wouldn't say we're weaker in comparison. It might have been weaker from the last team we had when we had people like Diallo, but compared to the other teams in the league, I wouldn't call us weaker. I think the talent we've got on the pitch is brilliant. It just needs to work together better.
Yeah, for me, it's a lot more of like how we play together rather than the individuals. I mean, I know we've said we've lost a £40 million player and a £10 million player in Diallo and Stewart. I say 40 because that is what Man United paid for him. Like, I don't know if he's still worth that now, but that is what Man United paid for him. And it's hard to replace that and suddenly just go, oh yeah, it's fine. We'll just put these 4 young lads in who are all 21-year-old. They'll score 13 goals in 10 games and they'll get Diallo's numbers and cause as much of a problem as he did. It's just, I think we're still trying to figure out how to shoehorn everybody in. And it's a bit like, if we could have 12 players, I think we'd be absolutely fine. But there's always somebody who's missing out, and it always seems to be that the person missing out is the person you end up wanting in that game, or the game would have been better for them. I do think the one thing that I keep seeing is that Bellingham needs a rest. He's just not been at it the last few games, and I just sort of think, just have a week off. Do you know what I mean? Just sort of recharge, give it another go. We're not saying, you're crap or you don't want to play for, you're not playing for us ever again. It's just a bit like you've done really well. Don't overexert yourself and sort of burn out early type thing. We're going to need you going forward.
Yeah, I think we were saying this a few weeks ago, weren't we, about Bellingham? We were saying that a few weeks ago with selections.
But I mean, I just think Tony Mowbray is just a little bit too stubborn and a little bit too regimented with his team selections. I mean, we're marrying straight back in the team. I mean, for me, I would possibly have brought Ballard in, but with either Triantis or Sealed.
I mean, he's just going for his best 11 there, though, isn't he? The only reason them two were in the previous game was because they were both out. According to Mowbray, his best 11 would be them two at the back at the moment.
I just don't like O'Nien at centre back. It's not that he does anything wrong or that I don't like him at all. I think he's a great player for us and a great servant. But there's something that's just, I don't want you at centre back. I'd have you in midfield. I'd have you at right back. I'd have you at left back. I don't want you at centre half. Like,
you give a penalty away, didn't he, a few weeks ago when I think it was a corner and he pulled the man down and give a penalty away. And on Saturday, he did exactly the same thing again. They've getting a free kick and he's not even watching the ball. He's facing the man with his arms around him. Like, just a liability.
Against Borough, he could have given away a penalty as well. We were admittedly, I don't like to say, but we were lucky that he didn't give a penalty away in the first half when he just shoved Crooks down completely off the ball. And it's a bit like you can get away with that in the centre of the park when no one's looking, but facing your own goal at 6 yards, you can't be doing that.
Yeah, he does it quite often. He gets away with quite a lot, to be fair.
I mean, if everything was right, it should be Patterson, should be probably Huggins, Ballard, Elise, and Sirkin. If everything was fully right, or Hume or Huggins, either or. They're both decent. Depending on what you want.
Do we know anything of Pembele yet?
He's suffered another setback apparently in training. I think he's going to be another 3 or 4 weeks away.
All these COVID babies made of glass, man.
I do like every time we're playing a team recently, there's always somebody that we could have had or gave away because it was Mamba, innit?
Mamba.
Yeah.
I saw him Doncaster when we went down there when the first year in the League One, and he came on at the end, and you're just sitting there going, you could see he's a player in him, but he wasn't ready to be bullied about by League One players at that point. And he went to Norwich, he did all right, and then he dropped down to Plymouth when I think he'd sort of toughened up a bit. And he's a good player. Like he now plays like left forward almost for them.
He's like a wing back, but he looks a player. He's put some weight on. He's fast. He looks a decent player. Another one we've let go and let slip.
That was always an issue, though, wasn't it? I think that one was one that all the Sunderland fans looked to Donald and Medvin for. Of like, you've just cashed in there. We all wanted him to stay and wanted him to sort of get better, and you took the money a bit like they did for Honeyman, which Honeyman was a sort of a 50-51 with the crowd. Of some people thought he did such a great job for the team. Other people didn't see anything that he actually brought to the table. But he was another one. They just went, we've been offered nearly $1 million. Yeah, just go. And it's
see you later. Yeah.
Club captain, Sunderland through and through would absolutely die for us and run through a brick wall. And just off you go, mate. Don't care.
Took some money for you. See you later.
Yeah.
But Ekwa as well for me. Last couple of games has been kind of off the pace. Do you think he's got a case of being dropped on Wednesday?
Mike, what do you think?
I don't think he's been right since he came back, has he?
No.
I was thinking that. Since the dead leg at QPR.
Yeah, I don't know if that's an injury setback. Is it more than a dead leg, or is it in his head? Or I don't know. We had a lot of expectation from him, and then when he was out for that one game, everything was just like, as soon as Ekwa's back, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. He's just never come back the same. He's not. You can still hear the crowd shout and shoot when he gets the ball at range, but he's just doesn't seem to be taking it. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there, but he's not quite the same.
It's a bit like we said the spell of last season's results in that sort of lead up to Christmas, where it's sort of we're just picking up points here or there, and we just have to see where we are come January. And I think probably around January, I don't know if I've still got it open. I think I don't. We weren't far off, and that was what everyone sort of went, well, actually, we could do this here. Like the Hull away game where we got a point, and it was a bit like we're still in this. We could actually have a proper good go here, and then Diallo got even better, and Stewart decided to have a year off, and we still, squeezed sixth in the end. I don't know. I think it feels very similar to last season. It's very bitty. Results here and there, setbacks here and there. I think we'll write ourselves out by about December's next week. By about end of December, we'll know. I don't think we're in any danger of being too low in the league or down. I think we'll always be in and around the playoffs. But
it feels like he's still tinkering with a team, like he's not set on his team yet, doesn't it?
That could be why players dip in and out, like you were saying. Like with Ekwa, he might have gone, this was working really well before, but actually it was causing you this injury. So let's change it up the way you're playing for us and see if we can keep you in for a longer period of time. A bit like Bellingham beforehand was like almost not a false nine, but he was like the shadow striker, and now he's not like that. And people are saying it's form, but maybe it's actually, we want you to sit here to get the best out of the sort of several that are going to play up front. Well, I mean, I'm not going to claim to be a football tactician or anything, but it's just.
Well, I think we all think with that, didn't we? We all think we're now better than Tony Mowbray, and now he sees him in training every day, but I have seen on the sources that he seems to be getting criticised a lot more this year than what he was last year. Like.
I think this time last year, I'd only been in 10 games, maybe So I think there was still jury's still out. You're picking up wins. Let's just see how we go. Whereas I think this year everyone has expectations from last season to almost be like, why are we not third at least now? Like what's going on?
I think it's more the fact that when we do lose a game, we can all watch it and like, was it 20? I want to say 24, 21 or 24.
24 shots on Saturday.
Yeah, 24 shots and like only 5 on target. It's when we're hammering teams and losing 2-0. I think we know in ourselves that we should be doing a lot better, and the talent we've got on the pitch to finish now.
The stat that I give you before we just came on air there, I mean, the last 3 away games we've had 63 shots, no goals. I mean, that I don't care if you're playing with a striker or not. That's like not good enough. Like 63 shots and no goals.
And we realistically know that. I mean, I like the sort of model and the infrastructure that we do at the minute. We realistically know they're not going to go out in January and go, right, let's go and get somebody who's literally just a natural finisher who just scores goals for fun and will fit into the team. They're probably going to shoehorn and make this work and be more rigid with it. Like, but admittedly, I also don't want them to break the system because the system is the reason we're here. But how often can you ignore, like you said, 63 shots, no goals?
Do you think they're starting with the one up front works since losing Ross Stewart? Do you think we're throwing all these strikers into the same place? And
I think he was a special player.
Game. Yeah,
he was a special player. It's difficult to play up front on your own, I assume. Never done it before. But I imagine it's a lot more difficult than having a second striker with you who's going to take that up because, well, the wingers are a bit more wide. They're meant to fill up the fullbacks, whereas when there's 2 of you through the middle, if you're constantly chopping and changing with each other, the centre-backs aren't going to keep sort of swapping sides. They need to know where they are for organisation. So they've got to be more. I always think 2 strikers is best, but I don't know if that's because I'm English and born in the 90s, so 4-4-2 was drilled into you. Like there was no better system. Like Mike Bassett was the way. Yeah, Mike Bassett's system was the way forward. You don't need these Christmas trees or the Christmas puddings. You just need
as long as we don't sign Benson and Hedges, we're all right.
So good. Right, the team down on the back of a fag packet. Tell me where it says Benson and Hedges on that. What film?
But I think Stewart, we know Stewart was a different type of player. When Stewart running behind him in the flanks, where we haven't really got that.
So that's where we should adapt. Surely we can't keep throwing a single striker on to start, and we end up with 2 up front when we go down, or when the subs come on, we usually end up with 2 up front. So why not give it a start and see how it goes?
I always like, and this is me on Football Manager, playing for like who was it who used to do this system? It was either Johnson or it was Parkinson that did 4-2-2-2, where you've got your 2 sitters, you've got your 2 like attacking midfielders that could easily be Clark and Roberts, sort of a bit further back but a bit more tucked in as well, who could interchange outside the box and all that. And then you've got your 2 strikers, and you could always say to one of them to be like, if it's Rushin, for example, you come short or you get in behind, and someone else, you're the one who's holding this up back to goal, playing in the other ones. It's like, just give them something else to think about that isn't just, we swapped one striker for another one, but they all don't know where the goal is.
It's just so predictable. We play. Doesn't matter who we play in the team. The tactics are still exactly the same. So
that feeds into the narrative before we used to talk about where teams come at the Stadium of Light and know exactly how to get a result off of us. Like Cardiff, 2 years in a row, they've played the exact same game and got a 1-0 both times.
But when you see good sides, the wingers kind of alternate. They'll switch sides for 10 minutes just to try something different. We'll never ever see that with Robertson.
I think they're solely left-footed and they're solely right-footed. Have you ever seen Jack Clark take a shot with his left foot? It's just like they're so talented. They almost thought, I don't need to work on my other foot. Like it's just this one is that good, and it's just. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed. Like you sort of sit there and you go like, I don't know, when you play football when you're a kid, you still sort of think, whatever happened to that shot where you are on the left side and you're left footed, you could smash it as hard as you could across that way. There was none of this, I'm going to bend it round the keeper. You were just like, I'm just smashing it at you. Like, and that's the same with Clark on that side. Just fire it across goal. Like if the keeper has to push it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, that was like a Roberts one, but it was a left footer from the side.
It was still a bullet. Nothing was stopping that.
No, exactly. But then their 2 goals were exactly what you would like think we would score. So the other one, like, cuts in, left foot, Roberts, bang. The other one, right-footed, left-sided player, cuts inside the right back and places it in the far corner. And you're sitting there going, that's Clark, that's Roberts. Why? So they're doing it. Why can't we get anything?
That's the reason why I've been slating Roberts, because like that, the second goal, a little bit of calm head, he just trapped the ball, O'Neill ran past him.
Frees up a bit of space.
Roberts gets a chance and it's like he's got his slippers on, pass back to the goalkeeper, bobbles on the ground. It's like
this. I don't know if this is true, and I'm just thinking on the top of my head, and there might be some goals that people will be able to correct me on. It feels like Roberts isn't that good at finishing, and I'm trying to think back to any of his goals where I'm like, that's done really well. So like the Watford one is an absolute screamer, but how often has he been in that position and not found the top corner?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He got a tap in against Wigan, but I'm sure he got like a ricochet that came back to him and he just sort of like smashed it in away from home.
The one that I think of is it the 2 goals he scored against Reading when we're beaten 3. Was it when that was the game that?
Yeah. We got 2 in like 2 minutes. Yeah.
2 minutes.
But like again, that's one game, and then what did he do against any of the other teams? And
what are we expecting from him? He's not a striker.
No, but if you look at his
he does do his job very well.
This is the modern football.
He's got 1 assist and no goals this season in 15 games. That to me,
I think, yeah, but I think what Roberts is missing. I like him as a player. So I'm doing the opposite of Dak here. But what I think he's missing as a player is what we always miss is that person in the right position in the centre. He wants to take on 3, Roberts, but he's not like Jack Clark where he wants to cut in and take the shot every single time. He wants somebody that he can just dink it to and they're in space and they can score. But we're never in that space in the centre. So it feels like the wingers have either got to hold it up or they've got to go for it themselves.
In pre-season, right, we were getting the ball out wide, cross in, Emma, header, goal.
We never don't play like that though, do we?
First game, I've never done it since.
No. What he scored against, was it Mallorca at home? That was exactly it. Just dink, far post, header, goal. He'd done 5 games in a row of this, and it was like, well, right, well, if we get the ball down the flanks and up in the air for him, we've got half a chance. No, all on the ground. Play it in.
First game, revert back to what you were doing last season. I didn't get it. But I don't know.
Well, the only good thing, I suppose, coming up is in December. You've got a lot of games in a very short amount of time, and the strikers are going to have to play. They're going to all have to play. They're all going to have to get some sort of minutes behind them. You just got to hope that one of them just goes, do you know what? No one's doing anything. I can literally make this position my own if I could just score, or if I could just get an assist, or if I could just be part of the movements or something. And because it's not necessarily the goals, it's the fact that no one else is getting the goals either. Or when we are winning, we're getting a few in a game, but it's like, well, we could have won this game 1-0 and saved it. And it doesn't work like that. But you're starting to think, well, I don't care if you score 5 in a game, it's still 3 points. We're not at the end of the table where goal difference matters too much.
I mean, to be one of those strikers right now, you must want to go for it every single time, because you start scoring and you're in the first team. You're going to take place over everyone. Mayenda starts bagging goals. There's no way he's going to put Burstow in instead.
No.
What game was it? He came on and I was watching and I actually went, good play. Was it Birmingham? Did he come on?
Almost took the goalkeeper's head off with that left foot shot, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God, he did. He hit Ruddy right in the face. I sort of sat there and went, there's a player in there. Not necessarily a sole striker, but there is a player in there. Could he play with Hamir? If you want Hamir to be like, you're on the edge of the box to hold it up for the team, or you're in the box on the end of crosses. And how do you say his name? Mayenda.
Yeah.
Mayenda. You play off of him. Everything that he flicks on, every pass, you're the one that's sort of running in, making the sort of bits. But again, I'm not a manager.
I've just got an awful feeling that on Wednesday he's going to play no strikers and go back to the way we played last year. I've just got a feeling.
He can't. The fans will turn on him. He can't do that. He can't do that.
Bradley Dack up front.
I also don't think even if the fans turned on him and say we didn't get a result, say we drew and we still didn't score, like a 0-0, and still had a couple of games where we didn't score, the ownership aren't going to panic on him or cut him out because they clearly know he works well with the team. It's not that it's him and it's not that it's the players. It's just getting this, whatever this magical thing is, to just click. And once it clicks, you could see us scoring 3 or 4 a game. You know, it's just...
he's tinkered so much with the team. Why not the formation though? He's got these strikers now.
I think there's 2 players we miss really badly, which help us going forward indefinitely, which is Sirkin, absolutely underrated in how we go forward with our attacks. I mean, look, last season when he played, he was getting goals from set pieces. He was linking up the moves and running in as like an extra player going in there. The other one, just to give us a bit of steadiness at the back and allow the other players to push forward, is Elise. It's just he was so good, and again he was another aerial threat from set pieces, and he was a rapid centre back, so we didn't have to worry about shit. Someone's knocked it past 09. He's going to drag them down or piggyback them to stop them getting through. He was faster than him, and it just feels like we're not set in any of our 3 sort of positions.
No,
so it costs us.
I mean, Sirkin's naturally left-footed, and also he balances the side as well. So. But I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I just hope
I feel like we've been miserable in this one. We need to talk about something more fun. Like normally we start talking about like John Stead's goals away at like Everton and Southend and like what a day out that was. But like Rory Delap nearly winning us the game away at Everton when he smashed the post from like 40 yards away in our 15-point season. So Christian Basila played 3 games. We only got points in them, but he was an absolute machine for those 3 games that he played. Like.
If you want to go off topic, I'm sick of seeing the campaigns on Twitter for the old badge.
Oh, that's good stuff.
I'm sick of it. I've seen people like wondering why we're not spending so much in the transfer market, or they want to buy this player, but then they're saying, "Oh, spend these millions and millions of pounds changing the entire brand of the club."
I like this badge. I think this is quite a unique badge that we have. If we were to revert back to the other one, I wouldn't hate it. Do what Arsenal do, whereas like I think. The shirt you've got there, I think on that one that's the proper Arsenal logo as the badge, but on their 3rd shirt they just have the cannon.
Just the cannon.
Yeah, just mix it up a bit. Just be like, right, we're just going to have the black cat face on our like shirt for this one. That's our one here. We'll have this badge on the home and we'll have the retro badge on the away. Just stop messing with it. That's what we're doing. And then you can sell training shirts that are away with that badge on your job. Training shirts are at home with that one. Sorry, this is me actually putting together a sensible marketing solution. Which they don't fucking have.
I hope they're watching.
Copyright me.
Well, that's it. Like, there's more important things to worry about than changing the fucking badge, I think.
Now, let's go off topic for a minute. We've got 10 minutes. Who was your favourite goalkeeper to ever score a goal that wasn't Mark Poom?
Do you mean
No, I just meant in any team.
Do you mean? There was one Alex Bass against the Mags last year in under 21s.
Yeah, there you go. That's the right answer. Yeah, where we had some away following, and they still can't beat us. It's so funny. No matter what competition it is, you still can't beat us.
No, I just hope we're going to get them in the cup this year. That would be a bit of a.
There's a bit of me that I used to think that when we went down to League One, I was like, just don't get them in the cup, because even though there's like divisions between us, they'll still lord it over us like it was a FA Cup final. But there's also a bit of me that thinks, imagine if we got them and we beat them. Just imagine. Just like, I'd be on the phone for hours with voicemails and messages, just all of them, just like, just look, we've been down in the dumps for 8 fucking years and you still can't do it. Shove your Isak up your ass. We've got Patrick Roberts. Especially like imagine if it was like no VAR in the FA Cup, whatever, and Luke O'Nien handballs it into the goal in like the 93rd minute for like a 1-0 win, and it's just like the ref hasn't seen it, it's given, and it's like a bit like, going back to it, Mike Bassett, where he literally just
Mike
punches it into
Bassett
the... just like the most obvious thing you've ever seen. And you're just like, I know this should be disallowed in the count, but this makes it even better.
Stuff of dreams, that. Stuff of dreams.
You know, Tony Mowbray comes out saying he'd love it. You know, just something else.
Do you not think we're missing a player like Catamol? Or the reason I thought of it was because you said Mike Bassett, like Gary Wackett. Are we not missing an enforcer in the team?
What was it? He said, he's got 85 caps for England. Oh, no, out of his 85 starts for England, he's only finished 6. Yeah, and he's got his jaw wired shut just so that he could play this game tonight. And he's
I think there's probably a valid point in there. I think we probably are missing that nasty streak in midfield, haven't we? We've got nobody who can really dominate.
Say something about Ekwa that was like that. He went, if he could just be a nasty piece of work, he'd be an absolute force to be reckoned with. But he's too nice.
Got to give him a slap to wake him up. I think that's what he was saying.
It's just, yeah, you want him to be a bit nasty because he sort of looks like he could have it in him, but also when he scored against Southampton, he was going. I don't want the in-betweeners to score a goal for us. I want you to like 2-foot the corner flag or something like that. I want you to be flicking the V's up at the away fans. Just be horrible. You know? I want you to go over there with their players on the sideline, recently injured, and just slide tackle him still while he's getting treatment for no reason.
It's what we've always wanted as fans. We just want to see passion.
Yeah.
Full stop. That's what we want to see.
That's it. I mean, I don't know. I think you're probably right. We could do with somebody like that, but we just
don't think there's anybody we could get who's actually that horrible, like in our sort of remit. But the only sort of one I could think of was Jack Colback. I was like, I don't want him back in a million years. Like,
I remember a couple of years ago we almost signed Robbie Savage.
Yeah, it was only his voicemail that held him back.
Yeah.
And he went,
if Robbie Savage, it's got to be more than a couple of years.
Yeah. I think it was like 2000. It was Roy Keane, so it was like 2007, 2008. It was when he went to Derby, basically, and didn't out there either.
Catamol's only 35 years young, you know.
No, he retired early though, didn't he? At 32, after he went to that Dutch. There was a bit of me that always thought he was going to come back to us.
Yeah.
I think it was a financial thing for him, wasn't it? We couldn't afford to keep him.
Yeah,
I think ideally, wasn't it? And same with Oviedo. You would have kept them both if you could, but you're a bit like, we could do it on 1 year and go out again, but because we didn't go out, we can't do it again.
I don't think no one from the Sunderland will be able to sign an old player back after what happened with Defoe. I don't think they'll have that allowance anymore.
No.
I mean, Philly went and broke into somewhere and was trespassing for like several minutes just to try and just to get him to go, what do you think? And that was literally all he did in his 6 months at Sunderland in that sort of spell. Like,
yeah, we filmed the highlight of Defoe signing for Sunderland. Like, none of the games, none of the goals.
Yeah, here's Defoe's highlights, and it's just Philly stood by a window going, "Where's the parent door?" And then it sort of goes, "That's the video. It's all done now." There was nothing else, and I mean, it was a funny moment. I mean, imagine if we hadn't have been promoted, it would have probably been one that was even worsely remembered than it is. I remember I went all the way up to was it Doncaster was his first game back for us. He didn't even start, and I had to leave at 80 minutes because the wife was saying son wasn't very well. He was fine in the end, just adding that in there. It wasn't like, oh, but Defoe's here. Like, and we lost 2-1, and it was like, I went all this way up to watch him play for 5 minutes and then go. It
was definitely a heart over.
If we're doing that, we just may as well sign Super Kev. I reckon he could still do a job.
Well, we might get them all. We'll get Super Kev, cut them all. We'll have.
Arca still keeps himself fairly fit. He's around.
Right.
We go the complete opposite of now. Instead of a young team, we'll go complete
super
veterans.
What about a team of the ones that never quite worked out? So like Nicholas Mendina, like the second Last Dance, you know, or something we'll call it. Just a team of players that never quite. Wow, who would you have in goal on that one?
Does that mean Will Griggs got to come back?
No, that's too recent. Who would you have in goal?
Lionel Perez.
I was thinking like Thomas Myra or Jurgen Macho. Do you know what I mean? Like never. Oh, Martin Fulham
was all right.
Never quite worked. Martin Fulham never quite was number one, but I always thought he was a good goalie for us, and it could clearly have been it. Right back. Do you want to go Patrice Carteren?
Oh,
the guy. Bert Haas.
Who was that? Chimbonda? He was.
Oh, well, yeah. Did he work at all?
Haas, I always signed in the old Football Manager game because his stats are unreal for tackling. He just never worked out for us.
Never quite. There you go. Exactly. That's exactly the remit. It never quite worked out.
Did he score against the Mags, Haas?
Cartran scored against the Mags left back, George McCartney, never quite worked out in his second. He was always the one who was like, he's the next Michael Gray, which was the second best left back in England, I will say at some point. But it just never quite did it. Centre backs never quite did it. Michael Turner.
Oh, Michael Turner, good shout.
Because he was the one that we got. We have gone really off tangent, but I like this stuff. That was like he was the one who came to us, and it was like his stepping stone to like another club, like, and it just never quite worked out.
Could you say Wes Brown because he never quite stayed in the team long enough?
Anton Ferdinand, another one.
Yeah, Ferdinand. Tel Ben Height. No,
let's not mention that.
I'm waiting for the strikers. I want Chopra.
Oh. Yeah, Chopras. Stokes has got to be one because Roy Keane went round to his parents' house to try and fucking flirt with them to get him to sign for Sunderland to score 3 goals in like 4 seasons. Like it's Stokes and Chopra there, I suppose. But then who else was it? You could say Stead. You could say any of our strikers. Altidore. You could say any striker we've ever owned that wasn't Phillips and Quinn. I really wanted him to work out.
He scored his debut against Man United, and that was it.
Yeah. I think he got 6 in all competitions for us in one season, but I also think we bought him in to basically be Niall Quinn, and he was never going to be Niall Quinn.
Andy Cole.
Touch a few nerves. Jack Rodwell. But come on, realistically, I know what you think of him now, but when he signed, what were your expectations?
Yeah, when he signed, we thought what a fantastic signing at the time.
Yeah. There's it. Never quite.
Annoyingly, that's very good. Annoyingly, that is very. I'm trying to think of better ones in the midfield now. That's all I'm gonna do now. I'll message you later. He worked out. I loved him.
I was hoping he was going to come back. We were linking him a game as a free agent. He was.
And Dong, there's another midfielder who never quite worked out. He spent record money on him for a goal.
I think hasn't he just been chased by the club he's at now? No, he's just been
Cabral. He was a world of a player for like 2 games.
Eric Roy,
Ji Dong Wong,
Casket Fredgard, whatever he was. Lillian Leslanders. There you go. The one I think even Michael Gray said in training he was like the best player you've ever seen, but you put him out on the pitch and he'd shit the bed. He just couldn't do it.
He scored 1, didn't he? I think I'm sure he scored 1. So.
Liam Birdcutt.
Milton Nunes. Sorry, no.
This is a massive list. This is a whole nother episode of
we've got to do this on we need to come up with like things that are like your Sunderland 11 that is like the most underappreciated or
the worst ones 11 ever.
Yeah, the worst 11. I think Philly once told me I can't do a worst 11 ever, but that was when he had a bit of a relationship with the club more than he just has. So maybe we could squeeze it by sort of just name names.
There's one you forget. I've just looked at one there. There's one you forget. Julian Lescott.
Once we signed him in January, I was like, well, that's the R next to our name. Like that's done. Just put it there now.
Thomas Helmer, another one.
Yeah, I think they even said when they got it, Jason to get out. I know he's all right now for Brighton, but get out. Lee Camp, no. I remember when Lee Camp came. I don't know if he's ever actually. So I used to sit in the southeast stand, and it was quite close to where he'd come over and do his little waddle for like when he was stretching his legs, which wasn't very often because he was always under pressure with that team. But I don't know if you ever noticed before a start of a game when it kicked off, he would stand in his goal. People say Pickford had little arms, but honestly, he had to stand on his tiptoes whenever he was near that, and he still couldn't reach the crossbar. He was tiny.
And shit.
Yeah, he was tiny and shit, which is a terrible combination to be when you're a keeper. Just at least if you're tall and shit, you might block something.
You remind me of the other French keeper. I can't think of his name now.
Pantilimon could have been a terrible keeper, but because he was like 12 foot tall.
Yeah, 12 foot. He just covered more space. Like the French keeper.
That was the weirdest person we ever sold. We sold him when he'd made the most saves for any team that season. Then we sold him in January.
We sold him.
Never understood that.
Yeah, it was.
Was it Watford?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think because they got rid of him and started putting Pickford in at number 2, and then Pickford the next season took over from Vito, didn't he?
Yeah, because out of Pantilimon and Manone at the time, you wouldn't have picked Manone.
No, and there was that spell where, but that's kind of like now. So at the moment the big thing in football is Arteta. He has 2 number 1s. It's ridiculous. Brighton literally swap their keeper every week. We did the same. Yeah, we did the same thing with Manone and Pantilimon game to game. It was just, but because it's Arsenal and everyone's like, oh my god, it's unbelievable. They've got 2 number 1s. It's just people do it more than you think. When you have 2 keepers who are on par, or one might be better at this type of game than what you think. I would put Pantilimon in a game against someone like Stoke because he's head and shoulders above them in height, so he can win the battle before it becomes a physical. But I wouldn't put Manone in there.
No.
But if you have a team that have good shot stoppers from distance, I'd probably stick Manone in.
Yeah.
But if you had a game where their strikers were terrible and couldn't score, I wouldn't put Manone in because I wouldn't trust him.
And now we've got no competition for goalkeeper.
Well, no, that's true. We don't need to. Apart from if he gets injured, and I don't even know what number 2 is now.
Bishop. Yeah.
That will go from.
Is he a youngster or something? Oh, he's that one, right? Okay.
23, 24, is he? I think he is.
Not sure. Well, he was from United, so
he's probably thinking,
They must have seen something in him.
I'll keep myself a good number 2. Then if Patterson gets sold, I'll be first in line, which is always funny then when they buy another keeper and it's like, we didn't like you from the start. Never liked you. You were just literally there just to make him feel better.
Just sit on the bench, just sit there.
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. We're going to have to come up with some sort of like Sunderland 11, but this concept is...
The almost 11. Well, 42 minutes in. I think that's just...
I enjoyed the last 10 minutes a bit more then.
Yes, well, after the misery of the first half an hour.
Best Sunderland 11 on the current budget.
Right. Is that a budget of nothing? Best free.
Actually, you've got to then say Jermaine Defoe because we gave Altidore away and got Defoe in on a free, which is a very this regime type of signing.
There you go.
Yeah, so there we go. We've got one of our best strikers ever in there, and now Quinn and Phillips cost peanuts back in the day, so they'll be in. There's 3 up top.
All right, that'll be more of a challenge.
The rest of the positions might be, but we've got our 3 strikers.
Anyway, that's it for another episode. We'll have to try and work on some of them for the next one. We'll go away and have a think.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks for listening. Do you want to say your goodbyes, Mike?
Yep. Well, hopefully see you next time in a better mood because we'll have won.
I feel like I've dragged everyone's mood down. I'm sorry. I haven't been on one of these in a while. I feel like I've come on just to bring the tone down. Just be like, it's boring.
No. Sunderland do that enough for us. So you don't.
Thanks
thanks for watching, everyone. Then. Much appreciated. All listening.
Nice one. Conrad?
Yeah, thanks for listening to us, me drone on a bit about Sunderland. I think it's just I don't get on a Thursday. I'm busy, so I think this is my sort of venting session. This is my therapy, just to sort of get it out now. But hopefully on Wednesday, it is Wednesday, I think, isn't it? We'll smash Huddersfield, be 9 points better off than we were this time last season, and things will be looking a bit more rosy.
So hopefully,
because you don't do the other shows, prediction for Huddersfield.
Ooh, 2-0 Hudders. No, they're like second bottom, aren't they? That isn't where I'm going with this. So we should easily batter them. We can't score. I think 2-0. I think we'll win 2-0, just because I sort of feel like we'll just edge it out. People are like, we've scored 2, but it's like the opposition is a bit of a sort of cop out.
I'm going to go for a very, very, very nervy 1-0.
To Huddersfield.
But hopefully,
5-0.
5-0.
What the
Huddersfield.
mate?
No, to Sunderland, every time we lose like this, the lads come back and they show us what they're all about. So I reckon we're going to have another.
It's a one of them. If you get an early goal, it could be 4 or 5. The longer it goes on, we get nervier and nervier, and then we know what happens then. But we'll see.
Yeah.
But watch out for Thursday's show where we'll hopefully be reviewing a 5-0 win.
Yeah, ideally. I'll take that.
Until the next time, thanks for listening. See you later.
See ya.